Welcome to the Home Staging Association podcast with Paloma Harrington.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Home Staging Association podcast with yours truly, Paloma Harrington. As you know, we always talk all things staging, and sometimes we focus more on the creative side of things, other times we focus more on the business side of things. And well, this is one of the business times. In today's episode, we are going to talk about marketing made easy. Quick marketing tips to grow your staging business. Marketing is an ever-evolving topic, and I think we can always bring something new when discussing the latest trends and marketing tips. And that's why today's episode is so rich. We've got an amazing guest who is going to share super useful, practical marketing tips specifically for home staging professionals and their businesses. Today's guest not only is a marketing specialist, but also a designer, an educator, an author, podcast host, an architect, urban planner, an associate professor. Phew. I'm talking about the amazing Jason Lockhart.
I'm ready.
Good. Jason, welcome. It's so great to have you here.
Thank you. It is nice to be here talking to your audience and letting them know just a little bit about who I am and how I may be able to give them some information to help them out in their business.
Yes, and I can't wait. Honestly, we have so many great things to talk about today. And before I actually ask you to introduce yourself a little bit more, Jason, I just want to give people a little bit of context. We were talking earlier, obviously, to prepare for today, and I think the main bullet point that we had was that we wanted something that people could really take away, take home and apply to their business, or something practical, something useful, something real. And you're the guy for it. So I really cannot wait. I'm so excited.
I appreciate that. And you'll learn, and as your listeners do research on me, they'll see in all my presentations, I like to have something that they could take home and implement, because it's great to hear all of this great information, but I want to make sure they implement. And I often tell the audiences I speak to, hold me accountable. Apply what I talk about, and within 6 months, if it hasn't changed, let me know.
Oh, I love that. Okay, guys, listen up. 6 months. Yeah, I really like that. Jason, before we crack on, I obviously introduced you very briefly, even though the brief was quite long, because you've got so much going on, which is so impressive, and I'm so honored to have you here. But I always like to ask our guests to actually introduce themselves, because there's always, a new role or a new project or a new award or something that they want to highlight. So yeah, why don't you tell a little bit more about your background, your story, and your expertise, and how you can actually, help home staging professionals and their businesses in the marketing realm.
Okay. Well, just on me, just a little bit. I grew up in Los Angeles, California, there for a while. Then I went to school in Louisiana, and then I went to graduate school. So I went to undergrad at Southern University in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, in architecture. Then I went to Ohio State in urban planning. And so once I got out, moved home to Los Angeles for a little while, then I moved back to Louisiana to teach at Southern University. Then I moved over to LSU, Louisiana State University. So often people ask me, with a design and architecture background, how did you get into marketing? It's interesting, because when I was at LSU, the dean at the time wanted to teach a digital marketing course. So all of the older professors, if you remember, I said I went to Ohio State. So the Ohio State Buckeyes. So the older professors had a nickname for me called the Young Buck, because of the Ohio State Buckeyes. I was one of the youngest hires, so they nicknamed me the Young Buck. And so the older professors said, let the young buck have that class, because we don't want to learn all this digital marketing stuff and having to apply. So let him learn all that. So I was like, fine.
Leave it to the youngster, right?
Yes.
Leave it to the youngster. Yeah.
that was exactly how it happened. And so I said, okay, I'll learn this. So this was in April, and I had to teach the class in August. So I said, I'll learn this under one condition. Now, I love to travel. I love to travel. And so I've done a lot of traveling all over the world. So I said, under one condition, I fly to every conference to learn all of this information about social media, website design, SEO, search engine optimization. I learned you pay for me to learn all of this stuff. She said, okay. So honestly, when I said that, I didn't at the time know what I was getting myself into, because it was it was honestly like drinking water from a fire hose. Just so it was like a graduate school education in marketing, in digital marketing in 4 months, because I had to teach this now. It's different than learning, but to learn, apply, and teach. Because I was the type of student that if you didn't know your stuff, I was gonna call you out in the class. So I didn't want to be that professor that a student called me out. So I had to learn this stuff. So like I said, it was like drinking water from a fire hose. So I
But
had to
you know
learn.
what, Jason, I think this is one of, the beauty of, all of the things that we do in life, especially professionally. Me as well, when I look back at some of the ventures, some of the projects, I go like, oh gosh, had I known that this was going to be the path, I would
Yes.
so not have done it. I would not have gone this way. I would have done things differently. I wouldn't have jumped in. But luckily we don't know, because otherwise we wouldn't do it. And we learn so much throughout the process, right? And I'm pretty sure as well, so many stages that are listening to us today, they probably thought, yeah, I'm gonna start a home staging business because I love interiors and I love colors and fluffy cushions and making houses pretty, which is like, it's like a tiny little fraction of what the work really is. And when they start the business, they go like, oh shoot, there's more to it, like marketing, for example. And
Exactly.
then they need to start, running around and really learning about that so they can succeed and have a great business. But I bet that many people would have the same thing as well. If I had known, I would probably not have done it. But sometimes it's actually good that we don't know. Ignorance is bliss, right?
Exactly.
Up to a
Exactly.
point,
And that,
right? Let's not
yes.
be ignorant with marketing, right? That's not bliss. That's just bad. But
I
sorry,
would
carry on, Jason.
I would agree 100%. But yeah, so that was what happened. It was overwhelming. So I end up having to teach this. So this was around 2010, 2011. And so I taught the class, and at the time, so I started to apply those same marketing principles to our architecture firm. So I have an architecture firm here in the Dallas, Texas area, and also a satellite office in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. So I started to apply these marketing principles to our firm. What ended up happening is one of the designers in the Dallas area said, "What are you doing? I'm seeing you online. I'm seeing the firm online. What are y'all doing?"
What are you
And so
doing?
I started to explain to her what I did. She's like, "I've been hearing about those SEOs. I don't know what that SEO stuff is, but I've been hearing about it. So can you help me with that?" So I said, sure. So this was around 2012, helped her out. And then a year later, she started to get a lot of traction. And so her colleague reached out to her and she said, "I'm seeing you online. What are you doing?" She said, "Talk to Jason." She's like, "The designer, the architect?" And over there, she's like, "Yes, he helped me." And so she referred her to me, started to help her out. Then she had traction. And then about a year or two later, now this is around 2015, 16, I'm starting to get referrals. And I went to because I actually have 3 partners on the architecture side. And I went to the partners and said, "We need to monetize this because I'm not even getting paid for this. I'm helping out these designers out of the goodness out of my heart. And I'm in all of this time, I'm not getting paid." So that's when we opened up the marketing agency in 2016 from all of this stuff. Yeah.
In 2016, so what, like 5 years later?
Yeah. And what happened from there is I had a small team, and then we had a small team up until 2020. And we all know what happened in 2020. That's when everything hit the fan with the
Mm-hmm.
coronavirus. And
Mm-hmm.
so I started to hear from designers all over the US that were saying we need some help. And so that's when I went back to my partners on the architecture side and say, okay, we need to really put some emphasis into this. And so that's when I moved about 90% of my time now is on the marketing side. And we
Mm-hmm.
put a lot of emphasis into really helping designers grow because we know designers, whether it be, architects, interior designers, home stagers, whatever it is, we know our craft.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know marketing as well because we didn't go to school for that. That's
Yeah.
not something, it's something we learn happenstance by
Mm-hmm.
not having customers, not having people call, not having anybody reach out to us. We have to
Yeah.
learn on our own.
Exactly.
And so this
Yeah.
is
You are.
something
The thing
we
is, you
felt
either learn or you get someone to do it for you, but you need to know that you need to do that, or you fail.
exactly,
Simply
exactly.
like that. And that's what I was going to ask you as well, Jason, because the name of your marketing company is quite a unique name, and I think sometimes people look at that as like, oh, that's very specific. So what is it?
So the name is called Kitchen and Bath Marketing Solutions. And when we originally opened up the firm in 2016, it was actually called Mogul Mindset Consulting. So I'm not going to get into why I named it that. But
I don't want to
in
know.
no, that I'm not going. But when everything happened in 2020, we said, and I said, we need to rebrand so we could become more known in this industry. And so what ended up happening is why I chose that name is because when I looked at the verticals that we serve, which are designers, whether that be, interior designers, home remodelers, home stagers and architects, they all know a little something about kitchen and bath design. And so that was one thing. And also, I wanted to align myself with the National Kitchen and Bath Association because they're
Mm-hmm.
the largest association for remodelers, kitchen remodelers out there. So that was
Okay.
another.
Just a parenthesis, do you see how important associations are? Associations are really good, right? For you as a professional, for you as a marketer, for you to, work as a partner. Associations are great. So yeah, if you're listening and you're not in the home staging association, or if you're in the States and you need to join, say, a home staging association, for example, the IHASP, or there's RISA, I'm part of IHASP, or even, kitchen and bath, more specific professional bodies. There's so many, right? And I think it's so important to be part of these bodies, these communities, because it really helps you to connect with the right people. It's more straightforward when you're networking and connecting, getting business and creating these relationships, isn't it, Jason?
It is. And oftentimes, right around 2020 when we had rebranded, I became active in our local association, and that's how I made a lot of the connections that I still have now and gotten a lot of the clients that we have now is from the connections that I established with the association and being active at the local level. Then I
Yeah.
became active at the regional and national level as
Yeah,
well.
no, it's really key. And I was actually talking to a new stager just the other day as well, and she was joining the association, etc. And we just had a quick chat about her next steps and what I would suggest that she could do to get more clients and know more stagers. And you said the word like local. Start
Mhm.
locally because you can be the best or the only or the first in your area, say your neighborhood or your village or town, whatever that is, or even your club. It can be very local, and that really helps. Sometimes we think too big, too fast. But if you really think of your street, your area, there's so much that can be explored that, and those connections are real. They will help you, with pushing things forward. So yeah, I think that's a really good shout. Um, Jason, so we are going to talk marketing today, marketing, very practical uh, uh, tips and knowledge and everything that people can actually take home and apply to their businesses. Um, can I start with a question? And then
Sure.
I think that'll
Right.
kick off the the
Sure.
the discussion. You were talking about SEO and how back in the day that first lady said, I've been hearing about SEOs. Can you help me with it? The set SEOs, people don't even know what it is sometimes. And it's been something that everyone is always, banging on about and doing everything that they can to get the right keywords, to get content out there in as many trustworthy websites there are, and doing, Google business profile, and also investing in social media content, buying different domains so they have that certain word, that certain name. How effective are the keywords or the actual domain? What's the game these days with SEO? Because I've heard that the words are not necessarily so important anymore when comparing to a Google business profile and Google reviews, for example. So yeah, why don't we start with that?
I would say I agree with that 100%. And I would say if anyone is looking to do any type of SEO or anything like that, I would start with, like you said, Google business profile. That is at the basis of what you should do, because that ties into local maps and all of the searches that happens around your local area. Oftentimes I'll hear designers ask, well, I actually work out of my home. I don't want my address out there. Well, when you set up your Google business profile, you can actually hide your address. Google needs to know that, just so they can know where to reference your location. So if anybody types in home pager near me, they know relative to where you are to where they are. So they know, okay, you're one of the home pagers that we need to have in front of them because you're in the area that they typed it in. So even if you work out of your home or you have a home office, you do not have to show your address. So that's something I hear a lot about. And this is where I said at the start, hold me to this. In 6 months, if you apply what I talk about here, in 6 months, you should see changes. Because we often work with, whether it's home stagers, whether it's interior designers, we set up first their Google business profile, and we completely set it up. I mean, everything. You have to completely set up the profile, office hours, who you are, about you. Don't just write a sentence. Explain who you are. Talk about all of the services you offer. Don't just say, I do XYZ. Explain each of the services, because all of that is helping you have a comprehensive profile. And the one secret that a lot of designers don't do, think of Google business profile as a social media platform. So you should post to it regularly. So if you post to it 2 to 3 times a month, I didn't say a week, 2 to 3 times a month.
That's
enough.
enough.
Really all you have to do. 2 to 3 times a month. And what that is, it's, on the projects that you worked on. It could be on the services you offer. You could put a video up there on the before and after, what you did in the home, anything like that. Do that 2 to 3 times a month, 2 to 3 times a month. Within 5 to 6 months, you will see an increase in calls and emails. And like I said, if you're consistent, after 6 months, if this hasn't happened, reach out to me.
Because you're probably doing something wrong, because it has to work. And what about reviews? Is that somewhat linked to this profile as well? And would it help boost things maybe faster as well,
Yes.
or not necessarily? Yeah.
Yes. So the reviews are one of the things that Google looks at to show that you're reputable and you do good work. So getting reviews is also an aspect of Google Business Profile. And really, if you aim to get 6 to 8 reviews a year,
Oh,
you probably thought I was going to say a month.
yeah, I was like, oh goodness.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not even that much, but it's tricky to get clients to do that. So it's the chasing that I think, kind of make people go like, oh my gosh, it's going to be tough.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
a year, I think that's
Yeah.
pretty feasible.
That's what I say. And that's what, people have to say, like, that's it. Like, obviously, if you get more, great.
Yeah.
But if you can aim to get 6 to 8 a year, that's one every other month. If you can aim
Jason,
to get one every other month, that's all you need.
and how does that, like in practicality, and I'm just trying to think like Google, how Does that help with SEO?
That helps because it shows, because what the search engine is actually looking at is when you type in home stager near me, they want to put in front of the end user that typed that in the most relevant business to that. And so what
Mm-hmm.
helps give you the credibility is the reviews. Is that, yes, I've worked with him or her on this project and they did amazing work.
So it's not, so say an example, okay? Say a company named Home Staging Los Angeles. I'm going to the States now to avoid any confusion here. Home Staging Los Angeles. That is, a great name if you think about SEO and keywords and all that. That should be probably number one if you don't think of paid ads or anything like that. Put that next to home staging Anne Marie.
Mhm.
And home staging Anne Marie has, brilliant reviews, loads of reviews. She has 15 a year, actually, not even 6 or 8, it's about 15. And business profile, super up to date with pictures and information about services, etc. Who's going to come in first then on the search if someone in Los Angeles goes like home staging professional near me?
Typically, it will be the one that has the most reviews, but there's a little into that if they have the reviews, but they're not posting consistently. And the home stager in Los Angeles they've been doing 4 to 5 posts every month or whatever, but they don't have as many reviews, then they may be higher. So the
Mm-hmm.
secret to this is to do the reviews and the consistent posting. That's why I want to set minimums. So 6 to 8 is not a lot to get a year. 2 to 3 posts a month is not a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So, and if you look at the other designers in your area, you will see that they're lacking in one of the two things, or if not both. They either do not have
Mm-hmm.
the reviews or they do not have the consistent posting. If you can do both, you will have a chance to rank and be the one that the search engine chooses to view over everybody
Mm-hmm.
else. And so that's why I said you have to be consistent. So after
Mm-hmm.
5 to 6 months of this, if you do not have an increase in calls and emails, I'll be surprised.
Mm-hmm. I like that. Final question about SEO, and then we can move on. Are keywords still key?
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
they
Okay.
are. They are. So that's because why they are is because it's what the end user types in. So that's
Mm-hmm.
what they're typing in to find the services that they're after. So they're going to type in home staging near me. They're going to type in staging near me. They're going to type in interior design near me. Uh, bathroom remodeling, kitchen remodel, whatever those keywords are that they type in, that is the type of same words when you do your post on Google Business Profile. When
Mm-hmm.
you have an image up there, don't just place the image up there. Explain
Mm-hmm.
what that image is. And when in that explanation, oftentimes the keywords will automatically, don't just try to slice them in there or put them in there because you want to keyword stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Naturally write what the image is about. And
Okay.
when you naturally write, a lot of the times those will be the keywords that the end user will search for.
Mm-hmm. Jason, say nobody ever heard of, Google Business Profile. They're too busy doing staging, so they have no idea how this works. Where do they go to set it up or to update it? Maybe they have set it up, back in the day when they had to start, create an email account, a Gmail account or whatever, but they don't even know where to go. What do they do? Where do they go to actually create or update their Google Business Profile?
I'm glad you asked. And that is one of the resources I have. So we have a website that we set up specifically for this podcast. It's called designerdiscussions.com/HSA. That's where you can get access to a booklet that we prepared. And we have a step-by-step guide with the URL to get to Google Business Profile and to show you how to set it up correctly, to show you how to consistently post, get the reviews. And so it's all in there. It's all in there.
Amazing. Do you want to say that the URL again?
Designerdiscussions with an S.com/HSA for home staging podcasts.
Amazing. I'm going to put that on the podcast notes anyway. So if you're listening or wherever you are, make sure to check the notes later so you can access this and much more, which we'll talk about now, basically. I'm going to talk about now. Jason, what else? What else do you think is well, not relevant, because everything marketing wise and new techniques, new trends is relevant, but what do you think is the most pressing thing that could bring faster or more consistent results that we could talk about today? I know that I don't know the numbers, maybe you know, but I don't know how many years from now the percentage of content will be mainly video. Was it, I don't know, in 2 years, 5 years, 87 or 97% of all the content in the world will be video? So I think maybe we should talk about video marketing.
Yeah. And video really took off in 2020 when everyone was at home and they didn't have the foot traffic they used to have in the past, and everybody had to do everything by Zoom. That's really when video took off. And why that happened is because with businesses, oftentimes it's not about what you sell, it's about who you are. Because at the end of the day, individuals want to buy from other people that they know, like, and trust. The best way to build up know, like, and trust, if they're not in front of you, is through video. Since I have a podcast and since I do a lot of talking and I do a lot of presentations all over the US, oftentimes I'll hear individuals come up to me and say, I've heard you either on your podcast, I've heard you on other presentations you've done. And they often feel like they know me. And I've never met them before in my life, but because they've heard me on the podcast, they've seen me present before, they already have that built-in know, like, and trust. And so when I say something, it's more apt for them to believe it and agree and do it, as opposed to if they didn't know me at all. So that's the same thing with video. Oftentimes I hear from designers is that they do not like being on video. I would say start with just doing a simple before and after video. And in the booklet that we have, in the resources, we have some examples, and there's one example in there of, it's only 8 seconds long. It's doing a view of a room. It's doing a pan of a room. Add the music in there, and then explain it in the description and posted it to social media, and it got a lot of traction. And they did that video in Canva. So you do not have to have all these high-end, video editing software. You can use Canva, and Canva is free. Even if you use the paid version, it's not more than $10 a month. But
yeah, and it's so intuitive, right? It's easy to use. You don't have to be an expert or anything. Yeah.
You don't have to be an expert. It's easy to, even if you use images, you can use images. You don't have to even use video. You could do a before and after. You can have the before image and the after image and do a slideshow.
Yeah.
And that's easy to do in Canva, and add music. And you can set that up. It does not have to be a long video. 8 to 10 seconds is really,
as long as it moves, right?
Yeah,
as long as it's moving.
Yes. That's a video. And so oftentimes when I talk to designers, they like, oh, video, and they're hesitant. But when I explain, you don't have to always be on camera. You could just do a before and after, a slideshow. That's a video. Animating those images with music, or even if you did a voiceover to explain it, that's really all you need to do. And so that's not hard to do. It does not take that much time, but it will set you apart, because I'm telling you, a lot of designers will not take the time to even do that.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. It's just the fear, right? Fear of doing something that you're obviously uncomfortable with and not knowing how to do it. But yeah, start small, right? I think
Yes.
that's
Yeah.
key. And I think it would also help, Jason, and correct me if I'm wrong, if you actually try to think of who you are recording this video to. Because if you have like a specific sort of client in mind, it just feels more natural. You can, I can think, oh, maybe, actually pick a client, right? Mr. Smith,
Mhm.
or maybe you don't have a client yet. Maybe you're just, getting started. Think of your ideal client. And
Yep.
then I think it's easier. And also it fine tunes how you're going to speak to them, the language you use, or the type of properties you're showing, or even how you're going to edit that video. You need something a little bit more, more quirky or more fun, or actually more glam and more, classic, traditional, whatever. So, which brings me to what I think would be a great, the next topic for us to discuss is the client avatar, right? Because
Yes.
if we know who we're talking to, we know how to sell and how to speak to them and how to reach out to them, right?
Yes. And every time I present, I always start with know your client avatar, because we like to say in the marketing realm, if you're marketing to everyone, you're marketing to no one. So you need to know who your client avatar is. And oftentimes when I say this, does designers and remodelers will say, oh, I already know who I'm working with, I already have the clients I work with. But I always ask the question, is that your ideal client? As I said, I'm a designer, and you want to look at, and there's an exercise we have in the book to look at your top 5 clients, not your highest paying clients, because I'm a designer and I have some high paying clients that I don't want to work with anymore after this project is over. But they help to pay the bills, but that's not who I want to work with. So
That's not
who
your
are the
ideal
top?
client. I think that's what's important to say, right? Ideal is not the highest paying or the most
Exactly.
friendly. So yeah, ideal, it's very individual what is ideal for each and every one of us, right?
Right, right. And once you look at your top 5 ideal clients, and when you analyze this, and like I said, we have an exercise in the booklet that'll help you out. Once you analyze and reverse engineer, you're going to see overlaps of those 5 clients. You're going to see overlaps in terms of personality, in terms of interests, like income level, where they live. So as you see those overlaps, now you're starting to define who that ideal client avatar is. And once you know who that ideal client avatar is, now you can look at your own website. Does the copy on your website speak to that ideal client? If not, you need to change it. Do the
Mm-hmm.
ads that you run speak to that ideal client avatar? If not, you need to change it. Because oftentimes when we work with designers that have run ads of any type, whether it be Google ads, Facebook ads, Instagram ads, and they say they don't work, when we look at the images and the copy, I'll often say, does this match your ideal client? And I'll ask them to explain their ideal client. And I'll show them, well, the ad that you were running is not speaking to that client. So that's
Mm-hmm.
why you're not having the results that you want, because you're trying to market to everyone.
Yeah.
And you need to market to your ideal client avatar.
Jason, can you give us an example of a client avatar? Just so people can kind of, start thinking. I work really well with examples. Sometimes I'm not really sure how to go about something. Okay, tell me how that would work, and then I can, translate that into my own business, my own situation. So, what is a client avatar? Tell us one.
Right. So once you have done the exercise, what's going to come out of that will be something, along these lines. So our ideal client is in between the ages of 45 to 60, married, uh, 4 kids, has an income over 150,000. They live in a house that's over 16 years of age, and they live in XYZ location. So now that's giving you an idea of who you're marketing to and what you need to write about, as opposed to so if I had that avatar, I may write more about things that are in the areas of uh, family oriented things, or But on the other end, if I had an avatar that was in the ages between 25 and say 25 and 35, single, uh, no kids, pets, live in an apartment. So now that avatar, I wouldn't talk about certain things that for the other avatar I would. I may talk about social aspects with them. I
Mm-hmm.
may talk about helping out in the community where I may not talk about with the others. So once you
Yeah.
identify who you're actually targeting, now you could create content that will resonate with them.
Mm-hmm. And how do we know, Jason? Because obviously there are things that we know, things we don't know, and things that we don't know we don't know. And and it could be the case that, say uh this one that you just mentioned, someone that's a client that's between 25 and 35. What if I don't have a clue what sort of, what makes them tick, and what is it that I can do to reach out to them, and how is it that I can speak to them, what sort of language or imagery I should be using? How do I go about that? Where do I find this information? Or should I
Okay.
just, come to you and say, Jason, help?
So there's an easy way and a not so easy way. So I'm gonna hand you the not so easy way first.
Okay.
So one, if you want to make sure that on your website, so everybody, hopefully everybody here listening has a website. And this
Hopefully,
is
because
a
if not, just pause this and go get it done and then
yes,
come back.
and I'm gonna explain why you need a website. So a few years ago, this was around 2018, we had a designer come to us. I was in a panic because they ran everything from their Facebook business profile. So they drove all the traffic there. Anybody they talked to, they sent them to that URL. So they ran ads earlier in the year. And then later in the year, they ran the same ad, but they were not looking at or reading Facebook policies. And the wording changed. So they used a word that was not acceptable anymore and got their profile shut down for over 6 weeks. They were in a
Oh
panic
no.
because that's how they ran their business. And
Yeah.
so I use that as an example because you do not own any of these platforms, but you own your website. So you want to make sure
Hmm.
you have a website because that's a property that you own. So
Yeah.
first of all, make sure you have a website. And on that website, make sure you have Google Analytics and Google Search Console. Those are free tools, free, free tools that you could put on your website that gives you a lot of information about the people that visit your website. So from that tool, from analytics, you can learn a lot about who went to your website, how long they were there, who they are, where they came from. So that's the harder way
Hmm.
that you can learn all this information. Because I know there's a few steps there. You got to have a website, then you got to put Google Analytics on your website, then you got to analyze. So that's the harder way. I know that, a lot of people listen like, okay, I'm not going to do all that. The easier way.
I thought it was going to be a lot harder. So I think, yeah, you manage expectations very well there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So the easier way is actually social media. You'll
Uh-huh.
be surprised at how much you can learn about an individual by looking at their social media profile. So if you look at your top 5 clients and look at their profile on Instagram, Facebook, and just look at the post, look at where they spend their time. Are they spending time around their family? Where do they go on vacation? Do they spend a lot of time on work? What do they talk about? What groups are they a part of? You can learn a lot of this information through social media by just reverse engineering your ideal client and finding out where they are. And that's going to give you the information you need to start to create content that will resonate with them.
So are you saying basically that we need to stalk people, Jason? Is that what you're saying?
To a certain extent, just don't reach out to them and start just spy on them. I like the term to spy. I don't like stalk, but
I think it's a market research, right? It's research.
I like that even better. I like that even better. Market research. Use that. Don't use stalk. Don't use spy. Market research. That's what you're doing.
So market research, I like that. Yeah, but I think, I think this is very useful because obviously I bet lots of people have already heard about this, but for some people it's completely new territory. And if we don't really know what the step-by-step is or how to navigate it, it can be quite scary and you don't even get started because you don't know what to do once you do, right? So
Right.
to have like a bit of an overview, I think is always useful. But Jason, if anyone actually wants help with this sort of thing, does your company help with that? Do you guys take on clients like that and guide them through the process, and then you pick and choose which platform to work with, or do you do like a diagnosis of the business and go like, oh my gosh, you need like a full revamp or whatever, or actually you just need to focus on tweaking your social media or identifying your client, or how does it work if someone actually needs a little bit of an extra hand there?
Yes, so we can help in two ways. One, we have the done for you where we have the marketing agency and we can help you out all from there. Now, obviously, that's at a higher cost, but where we like to help a lot of the individual designers and home stagers is on what we have called the Designer Discussions Academy. So that's actually a training program. It's where we hold your hand through the processes it's in a group setting where we walk you through different marketing tactics that you can implement, and we we handhold you throughout the process to help you have success with your business. And so that's in a group setting, and we meet once a week, talk about different tactics, whether that be social media, SEO, search engine optimization, paid ads, AI, which is really popular now.
Oh my
So
gosh, we need a whole podcast just for AI, don't we? Yeah,
yes, yes,
we should do it, Jason. Let's do it. Yeah.
yes, yes. And so that's a topic now because I've had to present 2 to 3 times this year, and all of the times I had at least one to two questions minimum, if not more, about AI. How is
Yeah.
AI changing the industry? Where do you see AI going? How can I implement AI now? And on about AI.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is one of the things we actually talk about in the academy as well.
Amazing. Great stuff. So thinking next step, someone that's listened or watched this and we're like, oh my gosh, yes, I want to, focus on building my Google business profile, or I want to understand more about my client avatar and identify who my ideal client is, etc., etc. So I think very first step, right, Jason, they should go to the landing page, which is on the podcast notes, and do the workbook. So basically, on the landing page, what we've got there, we've got the client avatar workbook, right?
Yes.
We've got a video marketing checklist as well. We've got the 2024 video marketing trends. Can you tell me what one of the trends is? I'm curious.
Short form video. Short
Oh,
format video. That's one of the trends that's hot on TikTok. TikTok really took this to another level, but TikTok and Instagram, short form video.
yeah.
And what that's saying is like a video in between 10 to 15 seconds long. So it does not have to be a long video. Like I
Yeah.
said, you don't have to even be on the video. It
Yeah.
could be a before and after, and we have examples of some short
Amazing.
format videos in there as well.
I love that. So yeah, so there are more trends there. Obviously, this being one of them, and then Google Business Profile. So got 4 really important bits of content that the people can dive in and really learn more about it and test it out and do the exercises and really apply that to their own businesses. There are also some resources they can find on HSA, either as a member or just as a stager that's looking for some support. So there are social media templates and content copy templates, quite a few things as well. We'll also offer some social media help if anyone needs something a little bit more tailored for them. But if they want something deeper or they want some extra help, to be guided through until they actually implement everything, and then they can start walking in their own feet, then they could reach out to you, couldn't they, Jason?
Yes, they can. And you can just head to designerdiscussions.com, and we have the contact us page, and you can uh fill that information out there, and either I'll get back to you or somebody on our team will, and you can learn more about the podcast there, the academy, what we have there. And then if you're interested in the done for you, we have the information on our marketing agency, all right at that website as well.
And Jason, what if someone decides to, even though we kind of probably convinced anyone that could potentially think about this, we convinced them to, otherwise. But what if someone decides that, just like you, they want to learn more about marketing, they want to maybe not become, a young buck of sorts, but but maybe, they just want to be more proficient in marketing, whether as a career or simply just to really know what they're talking about when it comes to applying that to their professional lives, their careers, their businesses. I know you have a book. I know you have a course. Do you want to maybe talk a little bit more about that in case someone wants to go like, yes, I want to, not simply skim over it or ask someone to help me. I want to learn like for real how to get this done. Do you think the book and the course could be a good way to start?
Yes, the book, which is called The Complete Guide to Internet Marketing for the Kitchen and Bath Remodel Industry. So that book is an overview. So there are 12 chapters in the book that go over everything from social media, SEO, marketing planning. The only thing that was not in there was not AI. So I didn't have AI in that book, but everything else is in there. And I actually had a plumber reach out to me. So this is interesting. So one of my clients who bought the book was on a job site. He left the book on the kitchen table.
No way.
The plumber that he was working with grabbed it and he asked, "What is this?" He said, "You can take it home and read it." He read the whole book over the weekend. The book is about 260 pages, so it's not a small book. It's a lot.
Yeah.
So he reached out to me. He said, "This was amazing. I learned a lot, and I'm not even in this industry. I'm in plumbing, but I learned a lot about marketing because even though it's aimed at the design and remodeling industry, a lot of the strategies you're talking about are applicable to what we do." And he said, "I'm going to implement a lot of this." I heard from him a year later. So this was about 2 years ago. So I heard from him a year later. He now has a website because he didn't have a website at the time. Has a website. He's been doing marketing, and he reached out to me. He said, "Google business profile is working." He said, "It's working. I'm actually getting clients from that." So that can help you. The book can help you.
So good. Oh, I love a real story. That's always so motivating. And as you said, like give it 6 months, it'll start working, let alone a whole year afterwards. So yeah, I would encourage everyone that's listening or watching today to really tap into getting the Google business profile sorted. I'm actually going to check HSAs as soon as we get out of here to make sure that we are up to date as well. Because like, oh my gosh, we're talking about this. I didn't do my homework before I jumped into the podcast, but no, I'll do that. And the course, Jay, you've got a course as well. Is developing your custom digital marketing game plan that is obviously for the same industry. So what can they learn in this course? Do you think it's a good step for them to take maybe after reading the book, or they could do both at the same time, or it doesn't really depend one or the other? What would you suggest?
Well, it just really depends on, because so we have a course on different topics with which we go over, whether it be, like I said, social media, SEO, paid ads, or whatever. So that is there, which you can learn more at designerdiscussions.com, marketing studio, or also within the academy, where we, talk about all of these topics. And we really like to emphasize on what is happening now which obviously is AI. So that, like I said, that's one of the topics everybody wants to talk
Yeah.
about. But we actually have a course on AI to show you how to implement it and save time and money. Because what I hear a lot of designers is they want to use AI, they just don't know how.
Mm-hmm.
So we show you the prompts to implement, to get through all of this and speed up your operations, get everything
Mm,
done in a timely manner that you don't have to spend a lot of times on the things you do not want to do. So you can spend
mm-hmm.
more time on the things you do want to do.
Can you give us a quick peek as to what would that be? Is it more like admin sort of work? Is it content creation for marketing, social media, a little bit of both? What are like, say, the top three elements of the business that AI can actually help people with in this industry?
I would say one would be content. So whether you're doing a blog, whether you're doing a social media post, we actually have an example of somebody that's in the academy that was looking to hire a position, and they had to write a job description. So last year they hired for a similar position. It took them 3 hours to write the job description. We showed them how to do it on AI. It took them 20 minutes. So they saved 2.5 hours of time on the same thing they did last year. They
Mm-hmm.
did it this year and saved 2.5 hours time, and they were amazed. So on
That's amazing.
content, it can help you that way in terms of operations. So there are things you could do in terms of operations where
Mm-hmm.
it can help out, whether it be on adding chat bots to your website, or where
Mm,
we often say when you get leads, it's all about the follow-up. You can
mm-hmm.
implement a follow-up system where when anybody calls you or emails you, they'll get either an SMS message or an email or a text. And so
Mm,
that helps them acknowledge that they have reached out to you. You may not be able to answer the call now, but you'll be in contact with them in,
mm-hmm.
X amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
Okay.
something there. Yep. And then also where AI can help you is in terms of helping you strategize business outcomes. So
Mm-hmm.
we have a exercise in there where we talk about developing who the brand is, helping you answer those certain questions, and helping you develop your marketing plan, and having the prompts to ask the right
Mm-hmm.
question to get the
Mm,
answers out that you want. Because oftentimes that's where a lot of designers they feel overwhelmed when they use either a chat GPT or whatever. Is
yeah.
they just don't know what to ask. And
Yeah.
so we're handing you prompts to help you speed up that
Mm.
process.
And even we were talking about reviews, right? You can
Mhm.
obviously use AI to follow up with clients, ask for
Yeah,
reviews,
yes.
um, follow up with agents to see did the property that you staged, did it sell, did it not, how much did it sell for? So you can actually put your stats together. Maybe AI can actually help with the actual stats, um, and then turn that into content. So everything at the end of the day is connected as long as you know how to set it up, right? So yeah, I think
Exactly.
very soon we need a whole podcast on AI, Jason.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a topic all to itself. That's a topic all
yeah.
to
Oh
itself.
yeah, yeah, yeah. 100%, 100%. So yeah, I think we'll be seeing a little bit more of you very soon. Jason, oh my goodness, it's been what, a whole hour, and
Wow.
we said, yeah, let's just do 30, 40 minutes. Yeah, but we knew it wasn't going to work out. But no, I'm so glad we managed to cover pretty much everything that we set ourselves out to covering. But Jason, obviously we have the landing page that people can access, designerdiscussions.com/HSA. But what if they want to reach out to you specifically? Do you have Instagram? Do you use LinkedIn the most? What is your favorite platform that you can tell people to reach out to, that they can find you and see what you're up to, and maybe even send you a message and get chatting? Or is it your website? So where can they connect with you?
I would say the easiest and the fastest would either be email, which is Jason, JASON, at AABMS.com. And that's just the acronyms of kitchen and bath marketing solutions.com, or on Instagram, which is KABMS_COM. So, so
Fantastic.
that's the easiest ways to get in contact with me that I see on my phone all the time.
Amazing. I'm sure you get quite a few people reaching out because this was so rich in content. I love that. I've learned quite a bit as well. And hopefully I asked the right questions as well. So people listening, I always try to anticipate, okay, he's saying this. What could people on the other side be thinking about asking? I try to ask the right questions. So hopefully I did a good job. Hopefully people are happy with it. But if not, they can always reach out to either Jason or myself or the HSA. And we're here to support, obviously, HSA's website, www.homestaging.org.uk, or Instagram, Homestaging Association. You can find my username there as well in case you want to reach out to me personally, but HSA is always there, usually faster than I am. Jason probably as well. Jason's always on it, right, Jason? So
Yes. Yeah.
I'm sure we'll be hearing from you guys. But yeah, if anyone has any questions, suggestions, or want to find out more about the course, the book, please do reach out. And otherwise, go to the landing page, start working on all the resources that Jason kindly put together for all of you. And
also hold me to it.
that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, hold me to it.
We're going to have another one for sure in 6 months. And if any of you listening, watching, want to come with us on this episode to tell us your story and how you were one day driving to work thinking, why the heck don't I get more leads via Google? And then you listen to the podcast and decided to invest some time in your Google business profile. And 6 months and one day later, everything like transformed itself and you want to tell your story on the podcast. Please do reach out to us because we want to hear about it. Because yeah, I'm holding you to it, Jason. In fact, I'm going to do this with HSA in case we don't have a case study from someone else. I'm going to use our own and then we're going to do it. But yeah, we're definitely doing it. So guys, do apply this, do what you need to do, follow the exercises, do the workbook and apply it and let us know because I'm that curious about it now because I really want to see if 6 months will be enough, but I'm pretty sure it is. Jason, look, thank you so much. I had the best time. It was so lovely. I learned so much and I hope everyone did. I'm sure they did. And if there's anything that we can do as an association for you, if you want to connect further with our members or the audience in general, please, by all means, feel free to also follow us and connect with everyone. But we'll do this again for sure. And I really do feel like we should bring more people in so we can have a wider discussion. I think that would be very, very helpful.
Yes, I agree. And, thank you for the opportunity to have me on here to speak to your listeners. And like you said, if after 6 months, believe me, if you were consistent and you did not have success, I want to hear because I have yet to hear anyone that has applied this information and not have success.
I can't wait to hear from all of you. Jason, thank you so much. I shall speak to you soon. Everyone listening, watching, thank you so much. It was a pleasure to be here with you today, and I hope to see you soon in the next episode. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Home Staging Association podcast. Please visit our website for more content and information, www.homestaging.org.uk. See you next time.